As long as I remember, I've been playing football. I always always run around with the football at my feet and played with my friends.
To make young people play football? No, I don't know why, but in the Faroe Islands, I think everybody plays football sometime in their life, in their local clubs.
The history is so long back, but I can see that this football pitch in a very small village, there's a football pitch in the church, and a lot of people play football. 10% of the inhabitants play football, actually 5,000. So yes, it's a high level. Yeah.
I think also we get the Faroes football. We grow up because we in the Klaksvik are bigger and professional and better club.
Laissez-moi vous raconter une histoire, l'histoire d'un avion, de quelques heures de vol depuis Paris, sur l'archipel des Iles Féroé, posé au milieu de l'océan, entre l'Écosse et l'Islande, et qui semble à première vue très sauvage et éloigné du monde. Et pourtant, au milieu de ces grands espaces de verdure aux allures islandaises, se trouve un rectangle de pelouse synthétique bien connu des pays européens. Je n'ai d'ailleurs pas eu à attendre longtemps pour voir un premier match de foot. Mais comment est-ce possible ? Comment une si petite nation comme les Féroé, 44e sur 55 au classement UEFA, développe son football parmi ses 55 000 habitants ? Et est-ce qu'ici, comme dans le reste de l'Europe, on vibre football ?
Yeah, it has a big place in Faroese culture. I think if you go back in time, you didn't have the chance to go elsewhere and watch football. We're isolated here in the North Atlantic. You can't just go in a car and then watch a game in France or England or wherever you want to go. So you have to imagine that when we have a game here, it's the same as in the big countries. Until we got television maybe, and then you start to see games elsewhere. And Sunday at 3 o'clock is sort of like a holy space for football. And the place for Faroese football in Faroese culture has grown, I think, a lot. And in 1990 we get international football, which then changes everything. Now everything's more professional. But I think if you go back in time, it was a place where me and you could meet for a football game. Maybe not to discuss if a team is playing 4-4-2 or 4-3-3, but also just to meet friends, to see your son or daughter's neighbor play football and see how they're doing. So it was also a place where you are socially active. So it has both the professional part, but it has also the social part of our culture. It is a big place in Faroese culture.
From what I see and what I experience here, that football means a lot. Also for like a community, people getting together, many players on the pitch, and also a lot of the fans from outside. It means a lot to them. And there is also a kind of clash between the former results and future development in the clubs. For many people, the results of the past means a lot, but I also think it's important that you look at how you develop the club for future results. So it's a great place to gather, both in the spare time and also in a more organized place in the club, and also the interest in the press. There is also a magazine called Elvur, about a football magazine here for only 52,000 people. So it means a lot.
We usually say about 10% of the population play football, so that's about 5,000. But it depends on who you're counting in and who you're not. Some people say 3,500, but I would say the number's in between there. You have a lot of people who play football at a higher level, but you also have people who just play football for fun. So about 5,000, I think, is 5,000 active people who play football in the Faroe Islands. Yeah.
I think a lot of the attraction comes from itself. Like it's one of the two main activities here. Besides handball, football is the biggest. And of course you have to do a great job to attract young people to your club. And right now maybe we are talking in HB about how we get the club to be attracted for the new families, for former generations, and make a strategy for that. And also I know that the Football Federation is also talking to the Handball Federation, because right now, from what I've heard, more kids are starting to handball when they start to a sport than they do football. And of course that is an attack on football. But the club needs to do a strategy about how you get new generations into the club.
Football here is very much like in some of the clubs in England and some like Brøndby in Denmark. You have a club where the people live football, and football is identity. In Klaksvik, football is very much identity. The people here in this community, they identify with football and they load their team. But in the Faroes also you see football pitches in every village, small pitches, children, every player that's brought up, they have played on a small pitch, small-sided game, and so football is a very, very big part of the Faroese community, and football has a key role, I think, in our social life and in our children's upbringing. Sports, but also football. Yeah.
Well, in the Faroes, every village has a church. And I'm almost about to say that every village in the Faroes has a football field. It's almost like that. But football, it's big in the Faroes. It's the main sport. It's the #1 sport, and it's only growing. Every year is growing, and with the federation investing and helping the clubs as well to invest in lights and everything. So football is being played basically all year around. So if there is good weather, there's football.
Je le constate moi-même en voyant le stade plein à chaque match. Le football a bien gagné le cœur des Iles Féroé, de ses habitants et aussi de ses jeunes. Très vite, je me rends d'ailleurs compte au détour des stades qu'une vraie méthode de formation leur a été mise en place. Pour la comprendre, je pars à la rencontre de l'une des personnes chargées de développer ces méthodes.
And if you look at from under 11 and down, they play like a small tournament. For example, on a Saturday, and they meet and they play 4 to 6 games against other teams, usually 4 games. So that's how they do it in the youth.
This is all Saturday of the season?
Usually, yeah, every Saturday, and then they play in the different clubs.
Okay.
Maybe we are the ones responsible for a tournament in under 11 and under 13. So we are having it here on the 2 or 3 pitches, and then the following weekend they may go to Klaksvik or another club. We offer indoor football from under 11 down to under 5 maybe, or under 7. And also right now the coaches for the teams next season, they are trying, our under 11 coach or under 13 coach, they're trying to take them in right now. So the plans for the younger kids is that they are maybe training 1 time indoor and then 1 time here out on the pitch. So they also know that the weather is part of playing football in the future. And then usually they do another sport during the winter, either gymnastics or handball. And then when we look at our under 15 or under 17, they're starting on a period now where they have like maybe 2 sessions trainings on the pitch, and then 2 sessions in the gym. There's some of the kids in under 15 and under 17 in 8th and 9th grade. They're on the same school, and they have morning training during the whole season. So even now, November coming and December, January, February, they have 4 trainings every 4 times in the morning. And that's like 50 players in 8th and 9th grade.
We hope every year we can get 2, 3, or maybe 4 younger players up, and maybe one of them or 2 in the best league. Maybe also the second league. It's very difficult to make a good player. But if you start when you are 5 years and build this up, and just as a culture, so we also wanted to make it the core. So we can make us our player. Our own player, and if you look at today at the better league, so I think we have many. We have also from different countries around us, and other clubs in the Faroes also. We have some problem with us and the club from Tórshavn. It's not normally for come to Klaksvik to play. It's very normally go from around the country to Tórshavn to play. So that's as a culture. So we want a change. So we want the player come to Klaksvik to play, and we have them today. And I think we have the best team. We are number 1 in there. So we have the best team this year.
Après la jeunesse et la formation, il y a, comme dans le reste de l'Europe, la vitrine locale du football, celle qui le rend populaire, son championnat phare. Très vite, je constate que le niveau des équipes est loin d'égaler notre championnat professionnel. Mais contrairement aux idées reçues de certains, il n'est pas si faible que ça.
It's difficult to compare. It's a level that's increased in the last years. It's been becoming much better quality the last 3, 4, 5 years even, and we see international results are very good. Our national team winning their group in the Nations League, and we see our teams getting to second, third stage in European competition. A few years back we didn't do that. And we see that the players that come from top league in Norway, second best league in Norway, Denmark, top league in Sweden, that they say that the level is very high. So it's getting to a point where we are in maybe second tier, second level of Denmark and Sweden and Norway, and maybe in the top of the second tier. So it's getting quite high level. This is mostly the top teams, but the lower teams, it's much lower level. So I think it's difficult to compare levels, but we've had good results against teams from Switzerland and Georgia and other places.
It's always difficult to compare, but I try to compare it with Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and maybe the best team can play in the first division, maybe, but the general level maybe on the second division from Sweden and Denmark and Norway. But it also quite different between the best 5 teams and the rest of the league. So yeah, it's a big difference there.
Compared to Germany, yes, of course, it's another level. When people ask me, I always said is compared to the third league, the clubs under the table, yeah, in the third league, and compared to teams on top in the fourth league. Yes, yeah.
It is more difficult in the rest of Europe?
Yeah, on the Faroe Island with the circumstances here, of course, with the weather, yeah, we play on turf. It's compared to Germany or in Europe, different, yes, of course. And also the level is another level compared to Europe.
It's getting higher. If you look at the European level, we're not at a high level to compare to the big countries. But if you look at some of the countries that have more populations than we do, I think the Faroese League is at the moment getting at a higher and higher level. A few years ago, we had an Icelandic coach who came here to the Faroe Islands who made one of the clubs make a big jump with physical coaches, with plans of a higher level. And then all the other clubs did the same. And now you have one club, the champions, who are taking things to another level. So we're rising in level, it's getting better, but I still think there's room for improvement. Players could live football rather than play football on their free time, and that's what we're trying to do now, to get more players to live like football players. So it's a lifestyle, because you're not going to get rich playing football here, so it has to be a lifestyle choice that you like. And I still think there are room for a few improvements still, but at the level is good, especially at the top.
Well, by being an international referee, it does give me the opportunity to see many different clubs, different levels, and I think that the Faroes are not far behind from many of them. We saw last year KI Klaksvik got into the playoff round of the UEFA Europa League, so that shows that the clubs are progressing and they're getting farther and farther in the European competitions. And to be honest, I think that it's not going to take long for a Faroese club to play in a group stage of a European tournament.
We try to make, even though we are not professionals here, we try to make the environment professional, so the players can train good, and we have coaches that come from abroad with new ideas of how the football is developing all the time. So I think we try to follow the professional path of football, even though it's hard for the players because they have to work beside playing football. But in 10 years, I think maybe we have some professional football players as well. You can say the club is divided in two, the kids and the amateur players, and then our first team players who live like professional players or who train like professional players. They train a lot. But still they have to go to work every day. So for them, I think it's really hard. Train 5-6 times a week plus match, and still have to go up to work for 40 hours a week or 35 hours a week. It can be hard for them. But as a club, I don't think it's that hard to manage.
Actually, I'm a teacher student, so I go to school. I was a salesman and worked from 8 to 4, but need to quit my job because the football was more and more, it took over, and I spent more time on football, so I need to go to school to also still keep playing.
And this is not difficult with the European match, for example?
No, actually the schools and jobs here in Faroe Island, they accept that if you play on the national team or European games, then you can go for free and play the games. So it's very good.
Yeah, I have an education as an electrician that I have been taken while I've been playing football for 4 or 5 years, and now I'm in engineering school also. So it's I use a lot of time here. We train like we are a professional club, but outside we also have both family life and also some kind of education.
This is some of them come from outside. They cannot live with this. Man. They live professional in the Faroes, and the Faroes from Klaksvik and other from Faroes, they are also half professional. No? For the Faroes player is no problem, and some of the problem we have sometimes problem with come from the outside. Man, we have many different job for them, and some of them have the wife and they live together in the Faroes, so that's good also. And they play, and some of them help for the younger team also. Yeah, so.
Cette semi-professionnalisation n'a pas empêché d'attirer des joueurs étrangers. Je croise souvent des Norvégiens, Islandais ou encore Suédois. Mais je suis finalement convié à Klaksvik pour y rencontrer un joueur venu du sud-est de l'Europe, de Serbie.
Yeah, I ended up here 4 years ago. One player from Serbia was playing here, I think 2-3 years. And I played in one club in Serbia, his ex-club, it's called Novi Pazar, it's second tier, second league, second division. And then he invited me with coach to come here and see how it is here. Then I come, I can say a little bit, maybe trial. And then everybody were happy, so I can say thank you to him and of course coach, club. So that's it how I bring up here. Yeah, in the beginning it was difficult because 2 years I was alone here. My girlfriend was back home having some job, and but after a couple of years it's been even more better. Now she's with me and everything has more purpose. So in the beginning, like I say, it was a little difficult because environment is new and different climate here. It's a little bit colder, but I'll be used to this. So I am football player, I'm professional, so I love football. So it was easy for me to adapt it here, like everywhere else. I played also in Portugal 1 year and Serbia, Montenegro. So it's good, I like it.
Next time, boy.
Sorry, Danny. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a little bit difficult language to learn, Faroese, but I had that luck that everybody here speak English really good, so we just speak on English. That's a very good thing for me, but I look forward to learn also Faroese language. Because I think that will help me more in matches, and also people would like more to speak domestic language than English only.
Il n'y a pas que la Serbie qui est représentée sur l'archipel. À Tórshavn, l'entraîneur en chef de l'équipe nous vient d'un club allemand dont le mur jaune est connu dans le monde entier.
I was like for the education by Borussia Dortmund, and yeah, I got a call from the Faroe Islands from Jens Berlasko. He's right now in AC Horsen's head coach, and he asked me if I want to come up here for assistant coach, and I took my chance because also after my career I want to be still in soccer, yeah, football, and yeah. and I took this way because I was looking forward to be here. Yeah, of course, it's always good to be like a head coach and to start as a head coach, even here on the Faroe Island or somewhere else. I don't know what the future is. Yeah, I cannot see in the future where I am in 3, 4, 5 years. But I like my job. I like to be assistant coach even last year and now head coach. This is the way I want to go in the future, of course, for sure. And yeah, and I can tell every time I love football. Yeah, and every time also, yeah, when I see yesterday the game, I was ready to go on the pitch to play by myself. Then, of course, yeah. So that's why. Yeah.
What we hear from players who come to the Faroe Islands is one of the reasons they want to come here is, of course, to experience the Faroe Islands, which is different. It's isolated. It's a different competition. But one thing that's very different here is that out of 10 teams in our best league, 4 teams get to play in Europa, and for a lot of these players who come here, especially foreign players, they don't have the opportunities to play in the Champions League, the Europa League, or whatever it is. So once they come, they're like, wow, you actually get to play Champions League games. I know they're qualifying rounds, they're pre-rounds, but they're still Champions League games. And if you play in the 2nd or 3rd division in England or France or wherever you play, chances are you're not going to play a Champions League game. And it's the same with the national team. A lot of players here think that we're spoiled, if you understand me correctly, because out of a few hundred male players in their best age, 10 or 11 of them get to start a national game, you know, almost every month by now, because there are so many games. So we're very spoiled in that way, I think. And the other thing is that when you come here, if you get to win championships, if you go to a good team here, you have a chance to become a champion. If you're a really good player in France, you could still be playing in 2nd or 3rd division because you have so many good players. So you never really get to win championships. You have to play for Paris Saint-Germain or whoever it is. And here you kind of get to be a champion. You get to play for a top team. So it's different in many ways.
Si je croise quelques étrangers dans chaque club, c'est bien les Féroïens qui sont le plus représentés. Souvent, 90% de l'effectif est originaire de l'archipel. Certains ont même décidé de consacrer leur carrière à leur club d'origine. Et d'autres ont même décidé d'y revenir après un passage à l'étranger.
I'm born in Denmark, but I'm Faroese, yeah. Actually, I played in Denmark for 3 years in Odense. When I was 15 years old, I went to Denmark and tried to play 3 years in Denmark, but then I went home when I was 18.
This is not a regret?
Sometimes, but if you want to be a professional football player, then you need to do it 100%, and it's a very hard work to get to the top. So I chose to go back. Sometimes I regret it, but I accept it to play here.
I'm born here. I'm from Klaksvik, and I love the club, and it means a lot to me and my family, and it's natural to play for this club. Yeah, football has always been a huge part of my family. My father played for KI for 20 years, and also other family members have played with KI, and it's always been a big part of my life and my family to play football. So it was very natural for me to get the football career.
Voilà quelques jours que je suis là maintenant. Mais je remarque quelque chose. J'ai fait mon voyage au mois d'août. Au même moment, notre championnat ne faisait que démarrer en France. Et pourtant, il s'agit ici des matchs du milieu de saison. Alors oui, aux Iles Féroé, on joue de mars à novembre.
It's because it's called like a summer league, let's put that way, because it goes from March and to October, November. That's because of weather, because usually December, January, February is a lot of wind, and also can be a lot of snow as well. But most teams now, they stop maybe for 2-3 weeks and then they start training again. If it's possible to train outdoors, they train outdoors. If not, they train indoors.
So if you come from the northern country, Norway, Finland and Sweden and Faroe Island, you're used with it. And some periods, for example, in March we play 3 games away on grass, and a lot of players don't start the season. It can be a problem. But also now in September we were just under our season, and mostly of the team in Europe just started the season. So it's only two sides of the coins.
I don't know the origin of why we first did that, but it's somehow we're so used to it that we can't change it. There's something about that when the tournament ends in October, November, you have almost 5 months to prepare for the next season. But if the season was to end in late May, because of the weather here, we have to play as much as possible during the summer. The break would be so short that it wouldn't feel like the end of a season and the start of a season. I think that is a big part of it. The discussions have been there a lot because now games end in November, or the tournament ends in November or October. The weather sometimes isn't very good. If you end in May or June, the weather is going to be the best it's going to be in the Faroes. So it makes sense, but for some reason we're so traditionally caught onto the idea of playing from March to October, and right now I don't think it's going to be changed for the moment, but when it changes I'm sure we'll adapt to that if that day comes.
Il est 13h et déjà de petites minces affaires à tout préparer. Aujourd'hui c'est match, et pas n'importe lequel, le leader Klaksvik se rend sur la pelouse du tenant du titre, Tórshavn. C'est une ambiance familiale qui entoure le stade. On discute, on rigole, on prend son temps et on essaie même de parler français.
Yeah, in French. Beautiful, thank you.
Ici, ce sont les bénévoles du club qui préparent la buvette, font la sécurité et la billetterie. On y ressent presque une ambiance de match régional. Et on m'assure que c'est cette même ambiance qui entoure l'équipe nationale. Aujourd'hui, le prix du billet, c'est 80 couronnes féroïennes. Cela fait seulement 8 €. 8 € pour voir l'un des matchs les plus importants de la saison, celui qui pourrait déterminer qui va être champion dans quelques mois.
I think that the game style in the Faroe Islands is a reflex of the English football. Very physical, a lot of running and a lot of long balls. But with time, if I take the 20 years that I'm here, I can see that especially the Spanish football of keeping the ball as much as possible, passing the ball from one end to the other, is taking more and more of the Faroese football. And also with the national team, many of the players are playing abroad, so their style is changing quite a bit. So that is only improvement for the Faroese football.
It's different style, it's different type of football, but I can tell you that here every year the football is developing. We have more foreign players every year, and yeah, type of style of football is different. Here is more like directly football with pressing and tactical things that we must do. That in Serbia maybe are more technical players and something like this. But here is like more English style football. Okay. Then it's different than like Europe style. Okay. So that's different. But I adapt good, so yeah, I like it.
Dans un match incroyable, Klaksvik l'emporte 3-2 sur son concurrent direct et conforte sa place de leader devant un peu plus de 5000 supporters.
Yeah, it was a tough game, yeah. We played against a better team on the day and yeah, we tried our best, but it wasn't enough. So this year we have to give the championship to KI.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to compare, but we think ourselves as a good club, and we have ambition, and we strive to do and train and do the right things just as much as FC Barcelona or Manchester City or Liverpool, but we think that we are a good team, and we try to do everything right, and we train hard, and we think that on the day, if we could meet one of the very good teams, that we could give them a good game and maybe a surprise.
Novembre de la même année. Le temps est plus frais qu'à ma première venue en août, mais braver le froid n'est pas cause perdue. Je vais dans quelques instants assister au dernier match de la saison, celui qui, en cas de victoire, couronnera Klaksvik. Comme un symbole, c'est Jakub, l'enfant et capitaine de Klaksvik, qui offre à la deuxième commune des Iles Féroé son 20e titre de champion. Ce titre, il peut sembler être insignifiant pour les non-locaux. Et pourtant, il qualifie le club pour les Coupes d'Europe, une compétition où il n'est pas rare pour eux de se créer des exploits.
Last year we only need a win when it was in Ireland. Huh? If you win there, we go directly. So last year we couldn't play with Arsenal. But we not win when it was Ireland last year. And I think it's possible. And that's we always will go higher and higher, longer and longer. So I think someday we will.
It was a very different experience because of the corona situation. Slovan Bratislava, they come here, but they couldn't play because they had many people in their staff and player that were having COVID. And so we go on, and the next round we meet young boys and play a fantastic game in Switzerland, close to being in front in half-time. And the young boys squad was very surprised with our strength. And then we meet Dinamo Tbilisi in the third round in EuroLeague, and we win 6-1. It's a huge win for us to win the champions of Georgia. And then we go to the playoffs against Dundalk in Ireland, and it was a very, very even game, close game. And I think had we had the home advantage, it could just as well have been us that won the game. But in the end, we were so close to reaching the group stages, which was a big experience for us.
Yeah, it was a very good experience. We got all the way to the playoffs, and it's a mixed feeling because we had so much joy because we reached that far, but also very disappointed that we didn't get into the group stages. But it was a very good experience for us. We played some good matches and won some good games, and yeah, it was a very good experience.
I think every year it's going to be better. We had some results in Europe every year. We try to put a higher level. We win last year against Dinamo Tbilisi, and we were almost to the group stage of Europe League, but we lose in playoff against Dundalk. This year we didn't have a little bit of luck against RFS. They are from club from Lithuania, but we will see. Now our priority is to win championship, and next year to compete for Champions League and to get a good result as much as we can.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility because we have high ambition with this club, and we can compete with any team in Europe. And if we are well prepared and we are lucky on the day, we think we can beat anyone. So I think 100% that it can happen again.
Absolutely. We see that HB, our opponents from Tórshavn, they win 6-0 against the champions of Montenegro, 4-0 here, 2-0 away. So we see that our level, the top teams, HB and KI, have a very high level, also internationally. And we were very close to winning against Riga this season, and Riga went on to beat the top team of Hungary and drawing against the top team of Belgium. So we can match some very good teams. We have a good know-how. We play many international games. We have national team players that are used to playing against very good teams. So we are able to make the surprise. You never know in football. Football is about dreams, and I think also in small places like ours, what keeps football is alive, that we can dream. And I think small boys in France and Italy and England, they dream, and very few reach to the national team. But football is about dreams, and I think it's important to keep that dream alive, also in small places like in the Faroes. Yeah, absolutely.
Le rêve de tout footballeur, c'est aussi de jouer sous les couleurs de son équipe nationale et de partir aux quatre coins de l'Europe et du monde pour représenter encore le football féroïen. La nation, classée 124e au classement FIFA, continue de progresser d'année en année.
Vi väljer att ta ut 25 spelare den här gången för att vi har 3 matcher, men också att vi har Gunnar Nilsson, commentator från HB, Gunnar Wattenhammar, Wojciech och Jakob Kai. Of course, we are a very small country, just 50,000 inhabitants. But I know it when I take the job that we have to work with our own development and had some other targets on the games, not only the result. But so far we have to make it very good. We win our national league group, unbeaten actually. And we just played 3 games in the World Cup qualification. Of course, it's a huge different level, but I think we were on the right way. But if you say countries as France and Spain, of course we shouldn't have a chance. But you always have to dream in football, and every single match, everything can happen. But of course, it's not realistic to think that we should go to the World Champions, for example. The best in football is that you have only 1 or 2 games in a tournament against those type of teams. So in simple games we can do it, but to say that we are in the same level as Germany in a couple of years, then I will be crazy. But we work to be as good as possible, and we dream to make a very good result against better teams, of course. But therefore I think the Nations League tournament is so good for even the small countries. We can compare us with the same level in a couple of games. So I hope we can make a good result in the new Group C in Nations League, for example. Yes, I really believe it.
What's your objective?
With our level right now?
Yeah.
It's difficult to compare as a new coach. I just been here for 1.5 years, and to compare it with the team before me, I don't think is fair to do it. So we were on the right way in our journey to develop the team. Yes.
You have to give them the opportunity to be really good. Sometimes when you're a really good player, if your teammates don't want to train as much as you have to train on your own. But you still have to play on the same team, so the levels become a bit different. And I think that if we can collect all the players who want that elite mentality, who want to train as elite players, if we can keep them together and give them opportunities, I think our national team could benefit from that in the long run. And I also think that there are players who will look at them and say, okay, so this is possible. It's possible to train more, do more, and get even better. Because you have to improve all the time, because all the other nations are improving. So if you don't want to be this underdog who keeps losing, but you want to be that good underdog who keeps getting good results, you have to do that.
S'améliorer et définir de nouveaux objectifs. Voilà ce qui semble être la clé du football, ici comme dans le monde. Regarder vers l'avenir, vers le futur. And now, what's your personal ambition with Klaksvik?
Is to make it the best club in the Faroes, win the championship every year, and to make people in Europe know what Klaksvik is and what KI Klaksvik football is. That's the ambition. We want to make people to know the Faroe Islands, because that we are a good football team in Klaksvik, and we want to reach the group stages and really want to reach the full potential and show that with very little talent pool like we have, you still can create good players. And that's why we also created an academy for our youth and work very hard with training well and optimizing everything so we can produce good players.
If I should add something, then it might be what you started with, asking about what football means to the people here. And for me in Denmark, I think it's coming from Denmark. I think it's a joy to see that the youth are so interested in coming, training for themselves. It's not the football is not always organized. It's something that comes from inside. That they are really having an inner motivation, meeting here on the pitch, having fun, just informal play. I think that's also with competition from social media, or computers, or other activities the youth can have. The more informal play you can bring into football again, I think would be good for the inner motivation. And I think that is a special place here, and I hope that the Faroese football can keep that, because I think it's important.
Au cours de mes 2 voyages sur l'archipel, j'ai rencontré de nombreuses personnes. Tous m'ont parlé de l'amour du football dans les îles Féroé. Tous m'ont parlé de football avec la même passion, comme si j'étais resté en France. Joueurs, supporters, simples passants, tous m'ont confirmé la réponse à la question que je me suis posée en arrivant. Est-ce qu'au milieu de l'Atlantique Nord, dans un pays plus petit que certaines de nos campagnes françaises, on pouvait vibrer football comme le reste de l'Europe? La réponse est inévitablement oui.
I think that is important, the job that you are doing, showing the Faroese football, because it's a small country and usually people don't have their attention towards the small leagues. And for us here in the Faroes, it's a pleasure. We are very happy when we see this interest. Like last year when the pandemic started, in the Faroes we were lucky because the pandemic wasn't so bad, so we could still play football. So while all Europe, the whole world had stopped football and all sports in general, we could play. So lots of countries got interest in the Faroese football, so that was a very good advertising for Faroese football. So we were very, very glad, of course not happy with the situation, with the why it happened, but we are glad that we got to show a little bit of Faroese football to the world.